next panel reflects on how success is being redefined with more attention to balance, purpose, and long-term value. To moderate this session, we have Ms. Renuka Vaidyanathan, PGP 88, founder of Being Sattvaa, and a seasoned finance and strategy leader. With a background in corporate planning and wellness entrepreneurship, she has led 100+ healing retreats. Renuka's approach combines environmental responsibility, mindful leadership, and sustainable living practices. She has worked across Singapore and India and has decades of experience in both business and the fine arts. Ma'am, welcome you to stage.
Joining her, we'd like to re-invite Ms. Rohini Nilekani, as you've just witnessed, a leader who has redefined philanthropy through citizen-centered, inclusive initiatives. A round of applause, please. And joining them is Mr. Rohit Bansal, co-founder of Snapdeal and Titan Capital. He has built one of India's largest e-commerce platforms and invested in 250+ startups like Ola, Razorpay, and Urban Company. He is also the promoter of Unicommerce, India's top e-commerce enablement SaaS firm. Rohit is an IIT Delhi alumnus and has won multiple entrepreneurship awards, including EY Entrepreneur of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome them for yet another interactive conversation. And therefore, on this note, I request you to please keep a tab on your QR codes to pour in your questions.
Good evening. I'm so happy to be here after 6 long years. Those 6 years during which we actually went through a pandemic that we never thought we'd live through. But we lived through it. And that pandemic actually made a paradigm shift in the way we live and we work. We are here. This evening's panel is a very, very interesting panel. And I'd like all of you members of the audience to be a part of it. Nidhi, can we have that screen, please? So we'd like all of you to take part in this survey, which talks about what is important for you, what you define as a metric of success. Do we have that screen? Yeah. So as the panel session is going on, I'd like you all to pick and choose your metrics of success, and then towards the end of the panel, we'll collate it, and we'll see how far we are aligned on metrics of success. Where I come from in Singapore, there is a joke. It's actually not a joke. It's a serious way of life in Singapore. There are 5 C's of success in Singapore. They are cash, car, credit card, condo, and country club. I mean, this was back in 2000 when I moved to Singapore. Hopefully, things have changed now. It's not so simplistic or so capitalist. But then we used to joke about the 5 C's. And when I was growing up, I was a big fan of the 5 C's as well. For me, success was a solo journey to the top where you get into an IIM, which I did, and then you become a CEO. And then after becoming a CEO, you have this beautiful corner office with a lovely view, and you're jet-setting. You're jet-setting all across the world. But then as I grew older, went through corporate life, and went through the experiences of life, I realized that that definition was rather narrow. Success is much more than that. That definition doesn't take into account purpose, it doesn't take into account balance, it doesn't take into account relationships or well-being. We are here to talk about redefining success with 2 individuals who've redefined it in their own way. Rohini Nilekani needs no introduction, but I'll just add a couple of sentences to what the MCs had to say about her. She's a quiet powerhouse. Her success is measured not in valuations or headlines, but in lives changed and systems transformed. She lives with humility, clarity of purpose, and a long-term view. And Rohit Bansal is a success because he helped build a business. He stumbled, he adapted, and then he endured. His story is a case study of humility, tenacity, and staying relevant in one of the toughest markets. They're both examples of unconventional success, and we are going to talk to them about what they consider success. I'm curious to hear how each of you define success in your life. This is for both of you. We can start with Rohini and then move on to Rohit. How do you personally define success today, and how has that definition changed over time, say from your 20s?
First of all, sorry to come back, okay, like a bad penny or some Bitcoin that was previously, at a higher stock level and now has come down, but sorry to come back. But that's a big question to answer. But I would say, of course, your idea of success changes over time. And at the age of 66, I want very different things than I wanted when I was his age, okay? And he's going to tell you what he wants very shortly. But I'll tell you something funny, because we were talking about giving and stuff, right? So I do this lecture bazi once in a while about how to give and all, like you poor people had to go through. But in Hyderabad, one fellow stood up and said, "What is this? You're telling me to give away money. What are you saying? Because of money, I have status, privilege, and freedom, and you're telling me give it away." So I said, "Ye bahut acha sawal hai, and I should think about this carefully before I go around giving this." But then I challenged them to think, and this ties back to what is success and what are good, successful outcomes of life. I said, okay, fine, close your eyes and let's think. Of all the very successful people that we know, let's take, if we take, these are common examples, Andrew Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford. If you take Jamshedji Tata, today if you look at Bill Gates, today if you look at Azim Premji, will you remember first the companies they built? Of course, you're from IIM, so you will. but is it because they made money? Or is it because they created opportunity and job growth for thousands of people? And will you remember them for the hospitals and the schools and the healthcare and other things that they set up? Or will you remember them only for their business? My suspicion is today people don't even remember what Rockefeller and Carnegie made their wealth from. So to that gentleman from Hyderabad and to all of you, maybe you can enhance your status, success, and privilege by rethinking what made you drive for so much conventional stuff in the first place. Is that okay to give that answer? Over to you.
So I think, as you rightly said, the definition of success for me has evolved over the years. Very interestingly, I grew up in a really, really small town. And as many romantic notions as all of us have about living in a small town now, actually growing up in a small town was not that much fun because the electricity won't be there half the time. To buy clothes, we had to come to Chandigarh or Delhi or whatever was the place nearby. And as a result, I just always used to feel that there is something missing in life. I wanted to come to a big city. I wanted to start building, doing something more meaningful with my time. Thankfully, I came to Delhi for schooling in grade 11 because the only thing that people knew about future education in my town was jiske number theek aate hain 10th mein, he goes to this school known as DPS RK Puram in Delhi. So I was fortunate to get decent marks in class 10th, landed up there. That's where I met my co-founder Kunal as well. So both of us were classmates in 11th and 12th. And then I went to IIT Delhi, he went to the US, both of us started our business. Fortunately or unfortunately, our business started with an absolute disaster of a failure. So we got coached in how to deal with failure very, very, very early. So both me and Kunal started a business of coupon booklets. We were 23-year-old. We did no market research. We didn't validate whether it will work or not. The only thing we saw was that this business is a multi-billion-dollar business in the US. Chalega hi chalega. So, let's launch these coupon booklets. We spent 1 year, just the two of us, and both our fancy degrees, but sitting outside restaurants, trying to get an offer from them, and to make sure we launch the absolute perfect product so that the day we launch, there should be a queue outside our office to buy the coupon booklets. So we also didn't want to run out of coupon booklets, so we printed 50,000 copies of the first edition, which were expiring in 6 months also, we later realized. In the first 3 weeks, we sold 7, not 7,000, like number 7. I think that just, both of us are, reasonably well-educated people used to consider ourselves successful. That definition changed overnight. What a disaster of a failure. So thankfully, we got our training to deal with failure early on. And at that point of time, the definition of success honestly became just not failing anymore. Anything that is not a failure is success for us. But then over a period of time, it's changed. I think as our business has done well, we've come to realize that, at least for me personally, and it's very personal to every person, at least for me, success is actually, most importantly, freedom of choice. To enable me to do what I want, when I want, on my own terms as much as possible. Today, interestingly speaking, how life comes back a full circle, all of us pay a lot of money to go back and live in a village-like environment, which is where I grew up. The only difference is that time it was painful because it was not by choice. This time it is fun because the same thing is happening by choice. So that to me is success.
But tell us, Rohit, as you were growing up, what were the messages that you received from your parents, from your peers, about what success should be? And you became an entrepreneur when you were very young. So did you go by those messages that you received when you were young?
Yes and no. So I got 2 messages. I remember 2 of the broad sets of messages from my parents. One which I agreed with, one which I didn't agree with, and I'll tell you how. I think the one which I agreed with, and it still sticks with me, is, and I'm so thankful and so grateful to my parents to have just inculcated that in me from very, very early on in my age, is my father always used to say the message of Gita, that look, you need to feel that you did your best. You cannot control the results. They will not be in your hands. There are so many other things at play. Don't beat yourself up or feel super elated if you're successful. Care whether you did your best or not. If you didn't do your best and still did well, you should not be very happy about it. But if you did your best and didn't do well, you should feel very happy about it, so that you're always focused on what your actions are rather than what the outcomes are. I know it is easier said than done, and it's, at least for me also, it's taken me almost a lifetime, and probably will continue many years in the future, of training myself to assimilate that. One thing is to hear it and understand it, one thing is to assimilate it. It's taken me years and years to assimilate that. I'm hopefully going to get there. But I think that's something that I'm so grateful that happened to me, and I so strongly believe in that message. The other message, which I didn't agree with necessarily, was, since childhood, I think all of the people here have been a part of that story. It was always, happiness is just, few years away. Get good grades in class 5, then you're set. Get good grades in class 10th, go to a good school, then your life is set. Get good grades in grade 12th, go to a good college, then you're set. So I figured actually fairly, I don't know how, but... Huh?
It's always ahead.
Yeah,
It's always a moving target.
I figured out this game fairly earlier because it wasn't ending for a few years. Then I thought, ये तो चलता रहेगा. This is not going to end. हर बार कुछ ना कुछ. So अभी college चले गए, now better college, now go and do an MBA. Now, so I figured out I think somewhere in grade 10th or 11th, here this game is not stopping anywhere. And as a result, it is very important for me to not postpone and hold on to my happiness for a future date. It is very important for me to enjoy the process while it's going on and find joy in what I'm doing. So that's why I made sure, even in the most intensest of times when people are preparing for engineering colleges, etc., I used to make sure I will do my work, but then I will go and watch a movie every week. I will go and hang out with friends every other day, etc., just so that I don't carry this feeling of regret or postponement that I am waiting for something to happen to feel happy and to enjoy life. I decided that I will enjoy life regardless of what's going on at work.
Yeah, so like I was mentioning that big corner office with a lovely view. From there, my life is sort of morphed into, I live in this little village in Bali, actually in the middle of rice fields with a view of sunrise, and my measure of success for the day is whether my tomato plants have survived an assault from the monkeys. So that is success.
But, you know, I used to be a journalist, so I'm taking her role away from her. But would you be so happy with your rice field if you had not experienced the corner office?
I'm sorry?
Would you be so happy in Bali today if you had gone straight there from childhood and not gone through the corporate career success?
What you say is, I mean, so true and relevant. I believe that one needs to go through these stages in life and then you get to where you get. So I would not be happy doing what I'm doing in Bali today had I not been through the corporate life and the banking life and its ups and downs. I definitely would not have reached it. I needed to go through that to get here.
Yep, that's right.
So Rohini, you were in a very different mold. I mean, yours is not a corporate success story, but it's a story of influence, it's a story of vision, it's a story of integrity and social impact. So I ask you this question. What do you think are some of the very outdated or harmful ideas about success that society is still clinging to?
See, coming from me, it will seem very hypocritical, okay? I got damn lucky in life, okay? And I can say all of you should also get lucky, but I don't know how to make that happen. So I think I was very successful at choosing the right life partner, and I chose that. So, listen, I'm telling you, if you had seen him and I chose him, you would not have agreed. My mother didn't agree at all. So I could see beyond what other people could see. And I was very successful at investing all the money I had. I had 5,000 rupees from my Bombay Magazine salary, and my parents had given me 5,000 rupees when I got married, or when I declared I'm about to get married, and I was very successful at putting them in a very good company. I recommend you all do that. That company was called Infosys. And so with that 10,000 rupees, today I'm able to say I'm able to experience success at doing that. Freedom thing is very important. Actually, what is success? Today it's very complicated, especially for young people, surrounded by social media, always having to look good for your peers, with very visible, blaring, this is what success looks like. You have to look like this, you have to sound like this, you have to earn this much money, you have to have these kind of possessions, you have to be able to flaunt yourself every day. I find that idea itself very stressful because you know, I'm too old for all of that. You have to tell us how you escaped from all of this. But it's very easy for me to say that I just got lucky today. But I'll tell you one thing. Yes, we have wealth. The wealth gives us the freedom to really pursue what we love. Nandan loves reforming the world from morning to night. That's what gives him his kicks and jollies, so we let him do that. I love to go out into the wild. I believe very much that our biodiversity is India's strategic advantage and that each one of us has the joyful responsibility to enhance it, which is why I produced a film called Nilgiris, A Shared Wilderness, that is an out-and-out plug.
I heard about this film.
That's mine. I'm the producer.
One of my college friends was mentioning this film and she said it's beautiful. Is it going to have a wide release?
It's in cinemas right now.
I didn't know it was yours.
I produced it. It was my passion project. Sandesh Kadur is a fabulous director. The reason I bring that up is this success which we had in terms of not only achieving wealth, but bringing up, raising a good family. All these things are signs of success. But today, after 65, we're able to do what we really enjoy doing. And I just love going out into the wild. And I think you have to keep working hard, which is what Rohit said. And the important thing is, how can I feel confident from inside out? I think working very hard on that helps us to feel successful, regardless if you have a big fat house or you live in a flat or whatever it might be. And always to remember that 600 million people just outside this big fat Bharatiya city that we are in, they are struggling to be successful like day to day. They're struggling to make ends meet, and when they do that, for them, that is success. And here we are asking, how do we go post the ideas of success? I think you have to balance it out a bit. But I would say just repeat what he said. You have to be successful enough to have the freedom to do what you love. And to be successful, you have to be very confident in yourself, in your moral impulse, in your intent, and your ability to work hard. I think success just follows in its footsteps.
See, for example, my younger daughter works in the social sector, and she decided in her early 20s that she would work in the social sector, and I was quite dismayed. I said, I mean, how are you going to do that? Then I said, I mean, we have actually given her the lifestyle and freedom for her to make this choice. She said, I want to make this world a better place. I said, huh? I mean, we never thought of this until we were well past 40 years of age. So I think where they come from is also important. I mean, everybody can't turn around and say, I'm going to make the world a better place and my metrics for success are different. You need to go through those phases and then reach there, right?
Absolutely.
Do you agree?
Yeah, so there's a cartoon which I love. It's this man is struggling and climbing, dripping with sweat, climbing up to this mountain, finally reaches the top, and there's this wonderful yogi sitting there like this with the right beard and all that, beads and everything. And he says, Swamiji. And Swamiji looks at him and says, oh, I'm so sorry. This is the peak of disillusionment. The peak of enlightenment is that one over there. So you go climbing, trying to reach this peak of enlightenment. And sometimes you won't reach there because you forgot to enjoy the journey on the way, right? You have to, every step that you take to climb, that's the real enlightenment, and we tend to forget that a lot.
Totally agree with that.
Rohit, this is for you. In our often all-consuming lives, how do you build the emotional and physical energy reserves for the long haul? How have you done that?
It's an interesting question that, because what you're asking is right, and it kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier, that, at least once you decide that there is not a milestone that I'm waiting for to enjoy life, suddenly your whole perspective on life changes. At least for me, it did. Because then you're no longer saying that I will reach a milestone and then I will enjoy. Because, then you need to enjoy every day. That also, at least for me, meant, because I love what I do, by the way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a person who's, if I were to have my will, I would never want to retire. I love the Japanese culture where there is no word for retirement also. And if given a choice, I would love to continue doing what I'm doing. But that also means it is very important for me personally to make sure I sort of do practices which keep that energy reserve up. Different things matter to different people. For me, a few things which are very, very important outside of work are family and relationships and physical health. I grew up an extremely overweight person all my life. I was like this nice Punjabi parantha eating kid all my life. It was incredibly hard for me to lose weight. So I think all till maybe the age of 23 or 24, I was extremely overweight. And I think that just, for me, it was a very important marker that I just need to be fit. And I think since then, I've made it a priority to stay fit. And I sort of many times I get up and sort of work out even on weekends, holidays, etc. Many people tell me, what's wrong with you? Why are you working out on a holiday? But I'm not doing it for someone else. I actually don't even find it painful. I'm doing it because I enjoy doing that.
You do yoga?
I vary between
No, because
exercise.
yoga is the common thread today, right from Dr. Devi Shetty to Saurabh to everyone. They said, Yog karo.
Yeah.
That is the mantra.
I do a little bit of pranayam, but mostly weights now.
It's okay, you don't have to say you're doing yoga just because.
No, I did do yoga.
Yeah. All right. Okay, can I ask you both a question? Tell me, if you were very, very successful, everybody else said you're so successful, you're running a Fortune 500 company, you're a multi-billionaire, etc., but secretly you're not so happy. Suppose. I'm not saying...
That was actually going to be my next question. You reach a
So
traditional milestone, and then you feel, this is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Then what do you have to say to that?
No, I think that, look, I feel, again, different people are built differently. At least for me, financially speaking, I started feeling satisfied much earlier. And then I also found myself in a situation where, okay, at least the conventional wisdom is that you need to work hard to earn money and somehow feel successful. But what if you feel you have enough? What do you do then?
Perfect.
I think that's what prompted this entire introspection and self-reflection of what is the meaning of success. Because then otherwise, what keeps you going? Like, why do I still, I still work very hard, but why do I need to work very hard if money is no longer a motivator? I'm doing it for myself because I enjoy doing what I do.
The art of the Snapdeal.
Yes. And I think the other thing I mentioned, which is extremely important to me, and I cannot emphasize the importance of that more, is family and relationships. And at least, I consider it equally, if not more important than work, to a point where similarly we have work meetings, right? Weekly review, daily this, daily that, etc. I have actually scheduled daily family stuff also, or weekly family stuff. Someone wise gave me this advice when I had kids, that try and create as many rituals as you can with your kids to maintain the connection, because as they grow and as you become busy, it will be very easy to drift apart. So now, for example, every single week, I have 2 kids, both of them very young, and I've been doing this for the last 8 years. Every single week, I will take both of them out for a meal. Just the 2 of them and me, no one else. Similarly, I go for a half-an-hour walk with my wife every single day post-dinner, come what may. Sometimes it's freezing cold, even then we will be out walking. I think these are things that are very important.
So does your wife think you're very successful?
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't? Why?
I don't know. I think because, we've been together for similar times. So I also remember when I was getting married, ours was an arranged marriage, and we were raising funds at the same time for the company.
Yeah.
Trust me, interviews for my wedding were so much harder because their parents grilled me on basic, what do you do? Coupon booklet, who will buy it, etc., etc. I think once I was able to answer all their questions, I knew that investment will come very easy.
So this is with particular reference to this audience, as you're talking to a group of IIM alumni and students. Many MBA programs today, and corporate cultures as well, they only emphasize traditional metrics like salary, valuation, promotion. I mean, valuation is the word. Everything has to be keeping in mind the share price. What can we do to keep that share price keep going up? So are these still valid markers, or are they missing the mark somewhere?
बोलो quarter से quarter तक बोलो चलती कितनी देर चलेगा ये?
No, I think, look, my view is slightly different. Obviously, share price and value is very important, but, what I've seen is, and which is how at least we try to run all our businesses and we invest in companies, we guide them as well similarly, is to try and project things out in the really, really long term. I think it's very important. We've seen, like, we do this exercise in our company also, all our businesses. every quarter, we will take a step back and only talk about for a day or two, not, what are the mechanics of which project is going on, how, et cetera, what is the status, but where are we going? If we fast forward 10 years on this path, do we think this path is taking us in the right place where we'll all be happy about it, that we landed here? Or is this path taking us to a place which currently may be seeming myopically nice, but eventually 10 years in the future, we feel we would have made an egregious mistake by continuing on this path. Yeah. And we've always taken this time to course correct early on so that in the long run, whatever we are building towards, if we do end up achieving what we set out to achieve 10 years later, we should look back and feel happy with all the decisions we took. Anything that is not matching up with this, unfortunately may seem painful short term, but needs to go. Like, that's how we changed our business model. We were in the coupons business. Yes. We entered e-commerce. We had just raised money. Like 3 months back, people had given us a lot of money to continue building the coupons business. We were #1 player in the market. We had 70% market share in that space. And yet we chose to desert that space and go into product e-commerce. And most investors also asked us, what's going on, what's wrong with you, etc. But we could see the writing on the wall that the business was limited in its size. Had we kept doing, it was good to see initial success and 70% market share, but it would be 70% market share of a business that was too tiny, where everyone who's feeling so excited about funding this business in the hope of making a big return, they will feel very disappointed with the eventual outcome because we don't see it going anywhere. And as a result, even though it was painful, even though we had a lot to suffer through, thankfully in hindsight, we changed the business even at a time when we were successful. Every other company in that space globally, even the most successful company at that point of time globally, had rejected an offer from Google at $7 billion to be bought. That company is worth less than 100 million today because they stuck to that space.
Yeah, so knowing where the puck will be is one of the things you were able to do.
Yeah,
same thing happened, in Infosys. It took years and years for us to be able to, I'm not a founder, okay, I'm just a happy shareholder, but the founders of Infosys, Murthy, Nandan, Chris, everyone else, for years and years, they delayed gratification. They could have made some choices, but they chose not to do because of their values. It was a minimum of 13 years before you could see any rollout. And today, I bet if you ask them, wake them up in their sleep and ask them, would you change a single thing about that if you could have shown monetary success earlier? Each one of them would say no, that the path we chose was the best, and true success came beyond that, and they wouldn't change a thing. So I think these are things to think about when we talk of metrics of success.
Yeah, I think, what places like Infosys have done, they've practiced capitalism, but conscious capitalism, and they've sort of, created wealth, and which has encouraged people to then start giving. People like Azim Premji and the Infosys founders.
Absolutely.
So all capitalism is not evil. You have to practice a conscious form of capitalism.
I don't agree with capitalism being evil at all. I think capitalism used well can be an exceptional tool for upliftment of the entire society. So
Well, like democracy is the worst system except for all the others, right? Yeah.
So it's time out already, but I wanted to ask this very important question as you've been in education. Our primary and secondary education is still very traditional, right? So does that need a drastic overhaul to, make people think differently?
In a simple word with 00 on that clock, yes. But how is the question, right? How will you help people to, I believe that all of us together really have to reimagine abundance. What is abundance? I think there's going to be a post-consumer generation coming up because how many I mean, I have a lot of clothes, but how many clothes will make us happy? How many things will make us happy? I think if we reimagine abundance, is clean air abundance? Is friendship abundance? If we reimagine abundance, we reimagine success. And it's a societal mission. ये समाज का काम है. We should begin it ASAP. ये तो बंदा poster boy निकल गया. You know, he's a poster boy of how to define, reimagine success. So, Rohit, you have the last
being
word.
too kind.
You have the last word.
Can we just take one question from the audience? Otherwise, the audience will feel disappointed. You spoke about 8 billion people healing the planet. How do we get young people in India to really care about our natural heritage?
Well, to get young people to care, we have to care first. They have to see us caring first. And caring doesn't mean only tigers in Kabini. You have to really understand the web of life, and we have to show how we care for it all. What do you think?
I completely agree with that. You know, I think, I personally think one of the best, again, putting capitalism to use is to actually true glory of India's nature is, the motivation to keep preserving it also will come from there. So I think I feel as a country we can do a far better job in preserving our national parks, encouraging tourism to our national parks, etc., so that we give an opportunity to a large number of people to experience sort of the glory of India's nature. I feel
And
that will
also
help.
how interconnected we really are. See, somebody sneezes in one part of the other world, and somebody in the opposite part of the world has got a cold, right? That's what happened in the pandemic. We cannot forget the lessons from that. And, you know, if we don't nurture nature, we are part of it, it will simply not nurture us anymore. And not all of us are going to make it to Mars. So we should all, we should all heal our own home first.
Very well said.
Thank you very much for this wonderful discussion, and sorry for exceeding time. I mean, it was so interesting that I could not put a stop to it. But do we have the results of the poll, the audience poll, of what they think are the metrics of success? Do we have that, Nidhi? So what you see in big letters is what the audience members think are important: family, health, happiness, money to a certain extent, peace, satisfaction, growth, community, family and friends. All the other things are. Yeah, happiness is the biggest. So happiness is the biggest measure of success. That is our takeaway today. Thank you very much for being a very engaging audience. Thank you, Rohini. Thank you, Rohit.
What a powerful conversation. I'm a little torn, actually. I was thinking of asking my wife in the evening whether she thinks I'm successful or not. I'm not sure I'll like the answer to that one. But anyway, thank you, Mrs. Rohini Nilekani, Mr. Rohit Bansal, and Ms. Renuka Vaidyanathan for offering such rich and honest insights on success and selfhood. Your experiences resonate with many of us navigating today's fast-paced world. May I now invite Mr. Vipul Parekh, PGP 88, co-founder of Big Basket, to felicitate our esteemed panelists. Let's show a big round of appreciation with a big round of applause.